If you or someone you know is struggling to pay down their credit card debt, well, listen closely, because today I'm here to tell you about a very important study which shows that a shockingly large number of people are making a critical mistake when making their credit card payments. In this study, the researchers set out to investigate how individuals make their payments across multiple credit cards. To do this, they compiled a dataset containing detailed information on the credit card terms, monthly balances, and payment history of 1.4 million individuals in the UK over a 2-year period. Now, before I share the author's findings with you, it is useful to characterize how people with multiple credit cards should make their payments. If you have, say, 2 credit cards with different interest rates, then the optimal, most cost-effective approach to making payments is that you first make the minimum payments on both cards and then repay as much as possible on the card with the higher interest rate. Specifically, you should only allocate further payments to the low interest rate card after you have paid off the higher interest rate card in full. This ensures that for a given total balance, your interest payments are minimized. Makes sense, except this is not what most people do. Instead, the researchers found that most people tend to engage in balance matching, meaning they split their payments across the cards in proportion to the outstanding balance on each card. So, as an example, if they owe $2,000 on one card and $3,000 on another, and if they have, say, $500 to pay beyond the minimums, they tend to pay $200 extra on the first card and $300 on the second, even if the card with the $2,000 balance has a higher interest rate. The magnitude of this suboptimal behavior is striking. In their study, the researchers found that for people who held only 2 credit cards, about 97% of their excess payments should have gone to the card with the higher interest rate. On average, the interest rate on these cards was 6.3% higher. Nonetheless, the researchers found that people only allocated about 52% of their excess payments to these cards. What's particularly interesting is that this behavior does not change depending on the size of the balance, or even how long someone has held the cards. Seemingly, it is a persistent pattern that doesn't improve with experience. Which begs the question, why do people do this? Well, the researchers suggest that balance matching could be a mental shortcut, a heuristic that people use to simplify decision making. I mean, who has the time to look up the interest rates on the different credit cards? Just split up the payments across all cards. Done. According to the study, the way credit card statements prominently display our outstanding balance or minimum amount due potentially induces this behavior. If that is indeed the case, then from a policy standpoint, one could argue that perhaps credit card companies should be required to display their APRs on these monthly statements just as prominently. Regardless, one thing is clear. Balance matching is suboptimal. If your goal is to minimize interest payments and reduce indebtedness, make a list of all your credit cards, their balances, and the interest rates, and then, after making sure that you've made minimum payments on all of them, allocate any extra funds to the card with the highest interest rate first, regardless of the balance. If you or someone you know is struggling with credit card debt, I hope you find this information useful. All the best in your financial journey. This is Professor Ikram. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this video useful, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And feel free to ask any questions using the comment section. Happy learning.